wait, don't close the sale. What? I need the money. I know, we're going to talk about that today. Reasons why you should not close the sale. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today we're going to cover the concept of getting to a customer's house to bid a job and then not closing the sale. It's a really interesting phenomenon, but there will be times when you go to bid a job at a customer's house and you discover when you get there that in fact, you should say no and walk away. Now, this is an interesting question, and it comes up every day in conversation with house cleaners that I'm working with. And I turned around and I asked house cleaners in my networking groups, what are the reasons why you would say no when you get to a customer's house and you need the job and the customer is willing to hire you? Well, there were some legitimate excuses, and some of them were things like the customer lives too far away. They're not in the realm or the area that I'm working in. That is a perfectly valid excuse. There were other reasons like I get a vibe and the customer is just creepy and then I have to say no and walk away. And then there were some that were very interesting where some of the house cleaners would say, I get to the customer's house and they're like hoarders and their home is overwhelming to me and I know that I could not clean their house in a 10 or a 12-hour window and it's too much for me to take on and I have to turn and walk away. There are other reasons why house cleaners would say no to a customer and refuse their business. I know for me, one time I went to a lady's house and I bid the job. And as I walked through her house, she took a lot of pride in these little trinket collections that she had. They looked like little ornaments that were made of glass and they were from all over the globe. And I asked her, just because I've been in the business long enough and I kind of know some of the questions to ask, have any of these items ever been broken in a house cleaner's care? And she said, oh yeah, one time a lady broke this, that, and the other. And she goes on to tell how she put the lady out of business because the house cleaner broke the item and it was thousands of dollars supposedly. And the house cleaner offered to replace it and she would not let her replace it because she refused and said it was irreplaceable. The house cleaner then offered to barter house cleaning in exchange for whatever the value or worth of that trinket was. And she said, oh no, I just took to social media and I put that girl right out of business. Then she started telling me about how one of them got stolen. And so she took this other house cleaner to court and insisted that she repay the, whatever it was, the value of the lost item. And she went on and on and on and on and had all these amazing stories, how she had put so many house cleaners out of business. Okay, so I'm walking through her house with her, and while she seemed like a lovely lady, in my head I'm thinking there's no price under which I will work for this lady. She's run 40 house cleaners, supposedly, out of business. I don't want to be number 41. There is no joy in working for this lady. No one wins, right? And so at the end, she said, so how much will it cost for you to come clean my house? And I said, you know, in our conversation, I discovered that you are a lovely person, but we are not a good fit for each other. And she was like, no, I will pay whatever you want. Oh, no, you don't understand. We're just not a good fit for each other. And I walked away. A couple days later, she calls me up and she said, okay, listen, I was asking for a discounted price. I will pay your full rate, but I got to have you. And I said, oh, no, you don't understand. We're not a good fit. And I was trying to be very diplomatic and kind, but yet I'm still walking away. My boundaries are very firm and I've decided we're not a good fit. And a couple of days after that, she called me back again. Well, I've done my research and I found that you are the best house cleaner in this market. I must have you. So name your price, whatever it is, and I will have you come clean my house. And I said, no, we're not a good fit. We're still not a good fit at any price. I just decided. And so she waits a couple of days, then she calls me back. And she says, okay, well, I've decided that since you're not going to come clean my house, obviously you don't know how to run a business. Ooh, she just hit me up with some emotional manipulation, right? But I recognize that, so I know what she's doing. She's playing games. Again, we are not a good fit. Can you recommend someone to me? And I said, I cannot. And she says, well, I thought that you work with this whole network of house cleaners and whatever. So is this a lie? Well, I bet you just made all this stuff up. Oh, more emotional manipulation. Okay, and it just kept coming like rapid fire. Well, if you knew somebody that was qualified, certainly you'd recommend them. Like, what kind of a business owner turns away business? Ooh, again, we are not a good fit, right? What it comes down to is this. I take care of the people that I work with. I know that house cleaning is a really tough business. And when I recommend a customer to a house cleaner that I know, it's because the house cleaner is going to do an amazing job for that customer. The house cleaner that goes to that customer's house is going to make me look good. And the customer that I recommend is going to bring business to the house cleaner. And that customer is going to make me look good. And if I have a customer that is full of emotional manipulation and hate and weirdness, there is no price that you can put on that, because suddenly, although I know lots of house cleaners, and I actually know house cleaners that could use the business, I would not do that to my friends. I would not. And so she kept calling, and don't you know somebody? Can't you recommend somebody? I cannot. I will not. I will not recommend anyone I know, and I will not take the job myself, because you are not a good fit for any of us. So when you get to sell a customer and you get to bid the contract and you're going through their house and they're giving you bits of information, that information is going to help you determine whether or not you're a good fit. And there are times that red flags will go up and you'll say, wait, don't close this sale. There is no price that's going to make this customer worth the stress and the anxiety and the havoc they're going to wreak in your life. And so there are times when my best advice to you is wait, don't close the sale. And your antennas will be up. And this comes by experience. The more jobs you bid, the more jobs you will realize that there are out there, right? There are hundreds and thousands of homes out there. There's lots and lots of work for all of us. But if you run into a customer that's going to cost you stress and anxiety, turn and walk away. Alrighty, so that's my 2 cents for today, and until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.